Talk about a player that we are going to continue to talk about like crazy. At least as long as he's a Giant, which the way things are going, who knows how much longer that is. And that's Deonte Banks. Because there were some words had after this game here yesterday by Terry McLaurin. We talked about him leading into the show where we're like, okay, well, this is the one player that Deonte Banks actually kind of shut down last time. That's the truth. Like, he got 22 yards in week 2 against us. That is not a typical game at all for Terry McLaurin, but that's what he did. So yesterday, he wasn't exactly the top receiver. Like, it wasn't even still a scary Terry kind of day. But he had 2 catches for 19 yards, which, again, on paper sounds great. But then look at the fact that both those receptions were touchdowns. So at a certain point, you got to go, okay, 41 yards in 2 games is scary Terry. That's good.
Yeah.
That's like really good. And I got to give Banks props for that part of it there. But there's a scary trend that he talked about. So from his film study, Terry McLaurin observed that Banks is, quote, not really aggressive in the red zone. Guys, if there's one place you need to be aggressive, it is in the red zone. Especially because guess what happens if you get called pass interference in the end zone?
1 yard line.
And if you're already on the 1 yard line,
half yard line.
What I'm getting at is the closer you are to the end zone, the more aggressive you can be because you're risking less.
Yes.
I would rather you punch the damn player and him not catch a touchdown, and then they get a first down. Obviously, I'm not actually advocating for punching on the football field, though it does happen. But I would rather see him get that aggressive and like do whatever he has to do to avoid the guy catching the ball than playing it easy, because all you're giving up is a first down at that point. That's it. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean that's it. Like, obviously, you have 1 yard and you have 3 times to get in the end zone now. It makes it much easier. But still, it's much harder to do that than it is to have the guy already caught the touchdown and get the 7 points.
Yeah.
So that's what you really have to be more aggressive in the red zone. And it's kind of a really scary indictment on him when an opponent that sees him regularly, he's played him 3 times now because he was on him the second matchup last year. Because Adoree Jackson was shockingly enough hurt. Who would have thought he got hurt? I know, it's crazy. Here's what else he said. He said, I knew Banks likes to really slow play routes in the red zone. He likes to kind of, no pun intended, bank inside, meaning he takes inside leverage. I knew he was playing a little head up on that route, so I watched the Cleveland game when Amari Cooper kind of rocked him a little bit. That was more of a true slant, and mine was kind of a more one-step slant, but the same principles apply. Now, what he was talking about in that play specifically was the second touchdown. And what he was saying is, because Banks took the inside, because Banks wasn't very aggressive and gave him a little bit of leniency, so to speak, there, when he took that step, when Banks was already 1 step off of him, and he got an extra step on him, guess what? He really got 2 steps now because he already had 1 step in there. And he knew the guy was on his inside, so take the 1 step towards the inside to make him go more inside, go outside, and you have that room. And that's all a guy like that needs.
100%. It's also NFL. It's not college.
Yeah.
That's wide open.
Now, what's interesting is he didn't make a comment that I saw on this, but the first touchdown, those of you all that are watching the play-by-play, I was flipping the hell out because he was so far outside of the receiver that it was so easy for McLaurin to go ahead and get that easy slant route. And that was the complete opposite. He was outside, and we all know McLaurin, what he likes to do. He loves doing slants. Like, that's not a new thing. It's a typical thing at the end zone. That's what he does.
Yep.
And he went right for that quick slant and got a touchdown really quickly. And Banks couldn't catch up in time. By the time he even got close to him, the ball was already in his hands because he gave him that much room. So he's got a very valid point there. That's a lack of aggression at the end zone. Now, I have to also say that part of that I can't blame on him because I'd have to actually talk to the coaching staff and see where he should have been based on their scheme. That's the one disadvantage you have when you talk about players. If you don't know the play, you could be talking out of your butt. Let's be honest in that. For all I know, he was lined up on the outside him on purpose because that's what the coaching staff had designed in that play.
Right.
I don't want to sit there and blame that all on him. But, again, we all saw how open that was. We all knew how it was coming. I saw it coming up before the play even happened. If I can see it, and granted, I know a little bit about football. I don't know nearly as much as Banks does.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to BS it. Like, he knows a lot more than I do because the man has played it professionally now for a couple of years. He played it in college. He's played it since he was 5 years old, probably.
So let's hope he knows a lot more than you do.
He's better.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's an issue. When players are really calling out your inefficiencies in your game. And fans at home can sit there and watch it and see the obvious flaws as well. That's an issue.
Big time.
And I really wish, and this is part of why I get really ticked off at what happened this offseason on some of these things. And don't get me wrong, I know the Giants wanted to draft a corner in the second round even. That was pretty obvious in Hard Knocks. But they still never brought in a legit number one corner. They should have done that, point blank. They put too much on this kid. I'm going to say it like that. They put too much on Banks. The guy spent a year in the NFL as primarily a number two, and you just upgrade him to number one when he struggled as a number one last year, guys. Let's be very clear on that. CeeDee Lamb ate him for breakfast. Terry McLaurin ate him for breakfast last year. He did not look good as a starter. And we just automatically threw him out there as a starter. Now he's getting burnt week in, week out. And we're shocked that he's losing inches. We're shocked he's getting frustrated. We're shocked he's upset. I'm not saying he's voicing it, doing it in a proper way. I'm not condoning that part of it. But, Rob, when you're not happy at work, do you work hard? Or would you say it's natural you're going to lose a little bit of your oomph, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, there's definitely a loss of oomph. But I mean.
Your boss is not watching, don't worry.
He does watch. So shh.
I'll say it like myself, like we're all human. When we get frustrated with our job, we don't do as good a job. That is normal.
It's hard for me because anytime I'm into anything, I'm in sales. You know, I also was a competitor in this and that. So anytime like I put my heart in something, I put my pedal, put the foot to the floor, with the pedal, if you will, pedal to the metal. But listen, like sometimes when like the prior company I was working at, they don't treat you right. They don't set you up for success, and things aren't going well. It's very easy to let that foot relax a little bit.
And at least let us get a second number two, at least.
Yeah.
So we could have had an option. Okay, let's split him up a little bit. Let's have a second person that can compete with him for the number one CB position. We just handed it right to him. There's no backup plan. Kind of crazy. We said this going into the season, guys. That scared us. And guess what? That has come to fruition.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you.